Hey everybody, it's Andrew Hassman here from Remax. I can't believe it's already October. So it's like less than 3 months to the holiday season. Actually, way less than 3 months to the holiday season. So fall is here. And what does that mean for the Vancouver real estate market? So I'm actually making this recording before the stats come out for September. They'll probably come out tomorrow, but I wanted to record it today just to give you my gut feel as to what I'm seeing in the local markets here in Vancouver, because definitely this has been a very unusual year. We really didn't have much of a spring market, if at all. Summer sort of wobbled along. Saw a little bit of activity late July, August, which was actually kind of a nice surprise. And then we kind of saw things cool off second half of August into the first half of September. Kind of no surprise, always a quieter stretch from the end of August to sort of late September. So now we're kind of October 1. Is the market going to wake up, and are we going to have a more robust fall market? Well, obviously, no one knows. We don't have a crystal ball, so we can only go from our gut instinct and what we're sort of seeing on the ground in the market. So in September, everyone was waiting on the Bank of Canada to see if they were going to lower the benchmark rate, which they did. Great. That sort of, it definitely helps a little bit. And there's another meeting coming up at the end of October. And I think the consensus is, again, we'll probably see another 25 basis point cut. But of course, we'll have to wait and see kind of all that, how that all plays out. So what we saw in September was a continued fairly tentative market, buyers out there looking, in no great rush to purchase. All are looking for a great deal or good value. And so for sellers out there wanting to sell in this market, absolutely critically important that your properties show and present that absolute best that they can. So how do you get to that stage? That's where you call us in. We look at your property ahead of time and we make sure that you take care of any sort of maintenance issues. Maybe you need some light staging or some staging. Make sure the garden looks nice. All these things are going to absolutely help. And then, of course, critically important, you've got to price your home correctly. You can't price it at 2023 or 2024 levels. Prices in many market segments have come down. You have to be in line with the current market. Otherwise, you're going to sit on the market and you're going to get maybe some showings, but no results. And so that can be really frustrating. As a seller, you put your home on the market, your realtor calls you. There's already after a few days, you get a couple of calls for some showings. People come through and then nothing. And you kind of wonder what's going on. Well, again, if your home isn't priced according to the market, you may need to rethink pricing. And so that's really critical in this market. In any market, pricing is important, but in what we call technically a buyer's market, which is what we're in right now, you really need to be ahead of the competition. Your home needs to stand out in the way it presents and is also priced. And yes, we are definitely seeing some hefty price reductions on more expensive luxury property in Vancouver. So my point here is, you're going to see those stats released tomorrow. It's going to give you kind of a very general overview. House prices in Greater Vancouver went up by a few percent or down by a few percent, and prices, did this or that. But that is a very general overview of the market. You really need to sort of dig down into what's happening by property type. So by houses, condos, townhouses, duplexes, multiplexes, you need to sort of break it down. And then you also need to break it down by area. So what's going on in New Westminster is probably very different than what's going on in Vancouver's Shaughnessy neighborhood. Different price levels, you got different buyer demographics and different property types. So if you're in a home and you're somewhere in Greater Vancouver and you want to know what's going on with the market, sure, look at the latest stats that are released probably tomorrow and see what says it's indicated there. But then it's really important to sort of dig down and find out what's going on in your neighborhood, because by neighborhood specific and by property type, you're going to get a much better read on what's going on in the market. And if you're thinking of going to the market this fall, now till the end of November, we've got sort of like 8 or 9 or 10 weeks before the holiday season kicks in. This is your time. You want to be on the market now. And by the time we get to sort of back end of November, early December, we sort of come up against the holiday season. Traditionally, things do slow down, but the fall market typically runs from the very end of September until sort of the end of November. So you want to be on the market now while we've got some activity in the marketplace. And I do think it is going to pick up going forward over the next 10 weeks. Where it picks up relative to sort of 10-year averages, no one knows. I don't think it's going to be a gangbuster fall market, but it should be busier than the last couple of months. So it's definitely a time to be on the market. Hey, listen, it's Andrew Hassman from RE/MAX, always here to give you some great information, great advice. Jill and I are always here. Reach out to us anytime, and we look forward to connecting with you soon.